Red Rum Gaming. What's going on, YouTube? This is Curse Diablo XX, aka Red Rum's finest, bringing you another live commentary on Advanced Warfare. This right here is one-shot team deathmatch. Okay, so what I want to talk to y'all about today is my origins and how I got into playing Call of Duty and gaming. And it's kind of a funny story because of the fact that I never got into video games. I was never like really interested in them. I never bought them. I didn't even care about playing them even. And then I ran into a friend of mine. Now this here was a kid I went to school with. We've been out of school a few years, you know how it goes when you leave school after you graduate or whatnot. You wind up losing touch with people you used to know. And then I was talking to him and I gave him my number. I was like, hey man, I was like, hit me up, we can get together, catch up or whatever. And he's like, alright. Well, he calls me up one day and he's like, hey man, he goes, I got a question for you. I was like, what's that? And he goes, you know anybody that plays Xbox 360? I was like, nah, man. He goes, know anyone that want to buy one? I'm like, nah, dude, actually, I don't play video games. He's like, well, I need to get rid of it. He goes, my parents are giving me 24 hours to get rid of it. He goes, they gave me tuition money for college, and I actually blew the money on a video game, and I wound up flunking out. I was like, really? He's like, oh yeah. He goes, I was in the process of being kicked out. Like, my parents gave me 24 hours to get rid of it. So I'm like, oh, well, shit. Like, that sucks. He goes, yeah. He goes, I need to sell this. I'm like, well, I said, hope you sell it. And he goes, you want to buy it? I'm like, not really. I was like, I'm not into playing video games, man. And he's like, well, he goes, I'll take almost anything for it, he says. Like, make me an offer. So, we're not knowing much about it, you know. It was an Xbox 360. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what the games were worth. I didn't know if, if anybody would even buy it if I bought it.
We have the lead.
Well, I told him, I was like, look, I said, granted, I don't want it. I'm just going to do it to help you out so you get rid of it. And I'll give you 60 bucks for it. And he looks at me like, 60 bucks? I'm like, yeah. I said, I'm just going to have to resell it. I said, chances are I'm going to get stuck with it. I said, I don't want to get stuck with it, so I'll give you 60 bucks for it. I said, that way if I do get stuck with it, I'm not taking a big loss. Well, reluctantly, he took it. He didn't want to, but 24 hours was almost up, and he had to get rid of it. So, I paid him the 60 bucks. He'd give me the Xbox. He'd give me a bunch of games with it. It was all the Call of Duties at the time, 1 through 3. It was Gears of War. And he gave, what else was it? Oh, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. And he'd give me those games, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty sweet, you know? And
UAV is online.
I figured I'd resell it, you know? I figured I know enough people, maybe somebody would offer me something for it. So, I got the game, and it's just sitting in my room for a day, and a buddy of mine stopped by the house, and he's like, talking to me, and I showed him. I was like, yeah, look what I picked up for 60 bucks. He looks at it, he goes, holy shit. He goes, you got an Xbox 360 for 60 bucks? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, does it work? I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, what are you gonna do with it? I said, I'm planning on selling it. I said, I don't play these things. Well, he was like, well, shit. He goes, I'll buy it off you. How much you want for it? I was like, I don't know. I was like, well, you said $800. I'll take $300 for it. Well, he didn't want to buy it off me. He's like, nah, man. He goes, I'm not giving you $300. You only paid $60 for it. I was like, well, let's keep this shit.
UAV is online.
So he hung out for a while, wound up leaving. And I was sitting in my room bored, and I'm like, well, shit. I'm looking down at this bag with this Xbox 360 and these games in it, and I'm like, I'm going to hook this thing up real quick, you know? I'm going to see what this game's all about. Make sure it works, make sure I didn't get ripped off or something, you know?
Enemy HUDs have been disabled.
Well, I hooked it up, and I started messing around with it, and I was like, well, I'm going to try each game. And, oh yeah, there was another game in there. It was also Quake 4. That game, now that was my shit when I first got that. That was all I played when I first got it, right next to Advanced Warfighter. You know, and Ghost Recon, that game was always going to be fun. But anyways, back to my story. I started playing it, and I got addicted to it. And I didn't even know at the time that you could go online with it, you know, and I had no clue at the time. I was like, well, shit. Like, this is pretty sweet, so I could play against other people. So I wound up going out, buying an Ethernet cord, like 50 feet of it, and running it to my router. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to try this shit out online. So I look at it, and I go and I hit find match, and I wound up playing that. My very first online multiplayer was Ghost Recon. And I started doing good. I was like, well, shit, this isn't a bad game at all. I said, I'm actually having fun. Well, then I got into playing a little Call of Duty, and my buddy was like, yo, you realize Call of Duty's the newest one out, and it was the very first one. It was back when it first came out. And I'm like, well, shit, I didn't know that. And he goes, yeah, man. He goes, this right here is the latest. He's like, this is the game that everybody wants. So I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. So I never really played it that much at that point. I was playing like Gears of War, and I was playing Ghost Recon, and I was playing Quake. And then I started playing Call of Duty. Now, the first one, I just played the campaign on. A lot of fun, you know. I always liked the campaigns in the Call of Duty games, especially when it was back in like the World War II times. And I got really, really addicted to it in a very short time. Well, then I started playing Call of Duty 2. And Call of Duty 2 had online multiplayer. And I'm like, well, shit. I was like, so I just got to look for the cases that have Xbox Live on it. And that means it's an online multiplayer. That's cool. So I started playing it. And I was just getting destroyed. I couldn't kill anybody. Everyone was camping. And I was like, man, oh man. I was like, this game's kind of shitty. Well, then I started playing it more, and then I got into playing Call of Duty 3, because I already had it, so there was no point in not playing it, you know? And as Call of Duty 3 was going, I was like, well, shit, you know, this is pretty fun. And then I went to a buddy's house, and I saw him playing this war game, this mind-blowing, awesome-looking war game. This game was just, it was badass looking. It looked like realistic. The guns looked real. It sounded real. It just seemed like it was a really well-rounded game. I was like, yo, what game are you playing? He goes, oh, Call of Duty 4. I said, they made another Call of Duty? He's like, yeah. He goes, it's Modern Warfare. I was like, well, shit, Modern Warfare? I was like, that looks pretty cool, man. I like that. Well, he let me play it, and I'm sitting there playing it at his house, and I'm like, dude, this shit's pretty badass. I like this. I was like, yo, you think I could borrow that sometime? He's like, yeah. He goes, but I'm done with it. I was like, cool. So I borrowed it one night, and I wound up having his game for like 6 months. I mean, I literally had his game for 6 months. It was, I was kind of a dick when it came to borrowing shit back then, because I'd borrow it and just completely forget it wasn't mine. Well, I borrowed it, you know, and I'm playing the hell out of it.
We've lost the lead.
And that game is what got me into playing multiplayer hardcore online. It was just like, the multiplayer was just so fun, you know. I mean, I wasn't doing very good, but it didn't matter because, I mean, to me, the video game at the time it wasn't a piece of equipment that I was using for YouTube, or it wasn't a piece of equipment that I was using to be a competitive player. I didn't even know what competitive was. I didn't know they actually had a sport in playing video games. I didn't know anybody did it like that. So to me, that was pretty cool that I got into playing it like that. Well, then after a while of playing it, I was like, well, shit. I was like, I wonder if they're going to come out with any more. And then Modern Warfare 2 started being advertised. And I'm like, well, shit, they made another Modern Warfare? I gotta get this game. So I didn't know about pre-ordering back then. I waited until it came out, waited a couple days, and I went and bought it from the store, and I was like, well, shit, this is pretty awesome. So I got it and started playing that real heavy. And I mean, I played literally just to play. I didn't play to win. I didn't play to lose. I didn't play to get kills. I just played just to play because it just felt fun. You know, I could go 9-30 and not give a shit back then. Well, then one day a buddy of mine's like, hey, man, he goes, you give me a ride? I was like, where to? And he's like, you give me a ride up to GameStop. I was like, what do you got to get? And he goes, well, this right here's back when the Wii come out. And he's like, yo, I want to go pick up some stuff for my Wii. And I'm like, all alright, well, whatever. So I gave him a ride, and I'm looking around, just browsing. I didn't really plan on buying anything. There wasn't nothing that interested me at the time. And then the guy at GameStop said, can I help you with anything? I was like, nah. And he goes, you interested in pre-ordering the new Call of Duty? I was like, they made another Call of Duty? And at this point, I was just completely freaked out. I was like, hell yeah. I said, well, what do I got to do? What is it? And he's like, it's Black Ops. I was like, Black Ops? I was like, well, shit. I was like, how is it? And he's like, it's a pretty cool game, man. He goes, highly anticipated. A lot of people are pre-ordering it. He goes, you should check out that video. And there was this little TV in the corner of the store, and I was checking it out, and I was like, holy cow, this is awesome. I was like, the gameplay just looked really badass. It looked realistic, you know, and it was just awesome in general. I was like, well, shit, yeah, I'll pre-order it. What do I got to do? And he's like, just throw me $5. I was like, all right, well, $5 ain't shit. Well, I went to pay him $5. Wound up just buying it right out. I wound up paying him the $60 at the time and called it a day. Well, then I waited, and you know, November rolled around, and I got it and started playing it, and the campaign was just awesome. I had so much fun playing the campaign. I was like, yeah, man. I was like, the storyline, it's almost like a movie, you know? Well, I played that game, you know, for a long time, every single day. And then a commercial came out. It was a commercial that had my attention. I was thought, wow, what is this? You know, it wound up being Modern Warfare 3. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, they made another Modern Warfare. I was like, wow, I need to get this game. This is fucking sweet. You know, I was already a Modern Warfare fan to begin with. Now they're making 3? I mean, come on. Now, I gotta get this. What kind of player would I be if I didn't buy Modern Warfare 3? So, I went and I pre-ordered it. And the guy at GameStop hooked it up, you know. And I went and November rolled around and I picked it up. Went home, played it, and I beat the campaign fairly quick. I was kind of disappointed in how fast the campaign went, but I started playing that online, and that was a lot of fun too. I'm like, well, shit.
We're winning this fight.
Like, this is pretty awesome. So I started playing that, and I was still playing Black Ops, the very first one, more than I was playing Modern Warfare 3. Well, a year and a half went by from when I really started playing, and I saw they had Black Ops 2 coming out. I was like, Black Ops 2? Well, shit, I already got Black Ops 1. I gotta get 2. I mean, hell, I'm a fan of the game anyways. You know, why buy 1 and not 2? So I went and got Black Ops 2, and that changed everything. Black Ops 2 was just, it was an awesome game. It was competitive. It was everything I thought a video game should be. I was like, well, this is definitely awesome. This is my new favorite game. I started playing it, and I mean, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I was sucking terrible. I mean, I was at the point that I couldn't get kills, and when I did get kills, I was excited at getting 10 kills in a game, you know? And then one day I actually ran into some buddies of mine that I actually play with still today, and they actually basically coached me. I mean, I guess that's the best way to say it. They were teaching me how to play objectively, how to play competitively, and how to play smarter. And ever since then, I've just been playing Call of Duty. I've been playing competitively, and I got more of an interest in making sure that I win now. In all honesty, I'm pretty glad I ran into those guys, because now I have a whole new appreciation for the game.
All HUDs have been disabled.
So, you want to get better? You just gotta try. Don't use guns you suck with. Use guns you're good with. Take it slow. Play on a monitor. You get better quality when you play on a monitor. And just have fun.
Good job, Atlas.
I want to thank everybody for watching today. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. I appreciate all the support and hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.